There are stories whispered in hushed voices, tales so strange, so twisted, that they blur the line between folklore and nightmare. Tonight, I will tell you one such story. A story that begins with an innocent-looking toy and ends with the return of something ancient, something that should have stayed buried in the sands of time. This is the story of Labubu and Pazuzu. It began on a rainy evening in London. Emily, a 24-year-old art student, had just moved into a small flat near the River Thames. She loved collecting unusual dolls and figurines, strange things most people found unsettling, but she thought of them as art pieces. One night, scrolling through an online marketplace, she came across a listing. Rare vintage Labubu figure, handcrafted. Warning, not for children. The photos showed a strange little creature with wide, toothy grin, oversized ears, and glossy black eyes that seemed too alive. Something about it fascinated her. Without hesitation, she bought it. The package arrived a week later. The doll was heavier than expected, its body cold to the touch. Emily set it on her bookshelf. She laughed nervously. But that night, while trying to sleep, she swore she heard scratching sounds near the shelf. When she checked, the Labubu doll was no longer sitting upright. It was facing her bed. The days that followed grew stranger. Emily would leave her apartment and return to find Labubu in different spots, on the couch, by the kitchen sink, once even sitting at the window, staring out into the fog. At night, whispers echoed faintly through the walls. Words she couldn't quite understand, but they carried an ancient weight. One night, unable to bear the unease, she recorded the whispers on her phone. The playback revealed a guttural, foreign language, repeated phrases over and over. She uploaded a clip online, asking if anyone could identify it. A reply came swiftly from a historian in Iraq. He wrote, "This is Akkadian, the language of Mesopotamia. The words are an invocation to Pazuzu." Emily froze. Pazuzu, the demon of winds, storms, and plagues. A name she remembered vaguely from The Exorcist. But this wasn't fiction. This was real. That night, as the rain lashed harder than ever, Emily woke up at exactly 3:15 a.m. The doll was gone. A low humming filled the air, followed by the sound of claws scratching across the wooden floor. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. A notification appeared, new recording saved. But she hadn't touched it. Hands trembling, she opened the audio file. The recording began with Labubu's faint giggles, then a deep, rumbling voice speaking in Akkadian. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The air grew heavy, and in the far corner of the room, she saw a figure. It wasn't Labubu. It was something much larger. A monstrous silhouette with wings stretched wide, a lion's face twisted into a grotesque grin, serpents coiling around its limbs. Pazuzu. And at its feet, Labubu stood motionless, as if it had summoned him. Emily should have run, screamed, prayed, but she couldn't move. Pazuzu's voice filled the room, deep and commanding. "Through the vessel of the toy, I was called. You, child of modern times, have given me form." Emily stammered, I didn't mean." Labubu's glassy eyes flickered with light, as if alive. It climbed onto her desk and whispered in a voice high and distorted, "Play with me," and you play with him. The two creatures, one tiny and grotesque, the other towering and ancient, were bound together. And Emily was caught between them. In the weeks that followed, Emily's life unraveled. Her artwork changed. She no longer painted flowers or landscapes. She painted storms, twisted faces, plagues of locusts. She painted Pazuzu. Neighbors complained of foul smells, sulfuric and choking, leaking from her apartment. At night, strange shadows flickered across her window even though no lights were on inside. Friends stopped visiting. Calls went unanswered. Emily was alone, with Labubu always smiling from the shadows. But the worst part wasn't what she saw. It was what she heard. Children's laughter in the walls, wings beating against her ceiling, and always that deep, ancient voice whispering promises of power, if only she surrendered fully. It all came to a head on the night of the blood moon. Emily awoke to find Labubu sitting on her chest, grinning wider than ever. Its teeth were sharper, its eyes darker. Behind it, the towering shape of Pazuzu filled the room. wings stretching so wide they seemed to block out reality itself. "The time is now," Pazuzu roared. "Through her, I return," Labubu chanted in its strange, childlike tone, echoing the Akkadian verses. The walls cracked. The floor shook. The moonlight turned blood red. Emily screamed, fighting to break free. She grabbed the Labubu doll and hurled it into the fireplace. Flames engulfed its body. For a moment, the chanting stopped. Pazuzu shrieked with fury, its form collapsing in on itself. But just before disappearing, its voice thundered one last warning. "You cannot destroy what has been called. I will return." The fire brigade arrived hours later to find Emily unconscious, her apartment in ruins. The police dismissed it as a mental breakdown, claiming she had set fire to her own belongings. But Emily knew the truth. The Labubu doll was gone, reduced to ashes. And yet, sometimes, late at night, when the wind howls through her broken windows, she swears she hears it giggling. And in her dreams, she sees him. The demon with wings of shadow. The king of ancient winds. Pazuzu. And she knows the story isn't over. Some dolls are cursed. Some demons are forgotten. But when the two are bound together, they don't just haunt you. They claim you.